Greetings. I am Joan Firestone, Chair of the 2020 Gilder Coigney International Theatre Award Program. And I am joined by my esteemed colleague and technical advisor, Federico Lippi. We would like to welcome everyone and express our gratitude to Frank Hengscher for his support of this program since its inception in 2011, and for his introduction and management of our appearance on HowlRound. Our gratitude also to our executive producer, Melody Brooks, and to an amazing team. Our original goal was to celebrate this program on October 20th, 2020, with a live production. But we soon learned that travel and gathering restrictions caused by the pandemic prevented us from inviting our nominees to New York and barred us from our home at the Martin E. Siegel Center at CUNY University, City University of New York. We turned to the virtual world. The tragedy of the devastating August 2020 explosion in Beirut impacted the lives of our awardee, Hanane Hajj and our finalist, Maya Zabib. And to enable the beginning of their healing, we postponed to today and the week that follows. Moving on to the virtual world, we had the great fortune to have Freddie Lippi on our team as line producer, with the technical capability and the generosity of spirit, who worked tirelessly as a volunteer to launch us onto the virtual stage. Please share with us your trials and tribulations of that adventure, Freddie.
Thank you so much, Joan. Well, there were two main challenges during this truly inspiring project that I'm really proud and grateful to have been part of. Of course, the main one was working with the time differences for the different countries and the different artists in those. It wasn't just about the maps, and I myself had moved around quite a bit, so it was really quite mind-boggling to make it all work. But it was also understanding the individual lifestyles of the different artists in the countries and understanding what was acceptable to ask of them. Was it okay to ask them to stay up all night so that we could also have someone really early in the morning during the same meeting? So that had to be really thought of carefully. And if you think of the fact that we had panelists in the west coast of the US as well as India, and there's a 13.5-hour difference, it was quite a challenge. But the second and perhaps most important challenge was that one due to the disparity of equipment. We have to remember that when we use platforms like Zoom, everyone is relying on the participants' devices. So we have laptop cameras or telephone cameras, microphones, lighting in their own home, and internet connections. So of course, I wanted to deliver a BBC broadcast quality product, but I quickly had to understand that that would not be possible. I had to accept that we were going to have internet dropouts, that we would have frozen images and out of sync moments. And so I tried to fix those as well as possible in post-production, but accepting that it wouldn't be perfect. But I also had to evaluate priorities. So what was more important than a pristine image was to try and have a comfortable, confident artist. So during the lockdown, we can't send technicians to fix problems. So we had to leave the artists alone to fix their own problems. So I tried to coach them as well as possible to get the best lighting, the best sound, and the best frame. But I had to be careful not to push too hard. I wanted to make sure not to stress out our artists, because they had to share their practices that often reflect really delicate and difficult circumstances in their own countries. So to be able to give them the best experience that would then give us the best experience was much more important than a pristine image, which I think though we achieved quite well. Thank you, Joan.
Thank you. An extraordinary job. As we began to put together a program, there was collective understanding that as we introduced and celebrated the extraordinary artistic achievements of our 27 nominees from 18 different countries, that we highlight the challenging environments in which they perform, that of tyranny, brutality, discrimination, and censorship. Those realities are a global plague and demand universal action. I called on Freddie's talents and sensitivity to visualize it. And that is the context in which we introduce you to our program. We hope that you enjoy it. Thank you.
עד עכשיו הכוח הגברי רק האמין במלחמה והביא רק מלחמה לשני הצדדים. ואנחנו, הכוח הנשי, אנחנו זה משהו חדש ששומעים אותו, שאנחנו ביחד, הולכות ביחד, מובילות ביחד, מקשיבות אחת לשנייה ומבינות את הצרכים של אחת של השנייה.
Police barely seem to hesitate as they pack women into their trucks.
We are not protected in Belarus. Those people who should protect us, they imprison us.
This revolution will have a name. I think it will be a women's revolution.
I can't breathe, Robert. Please! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
The
government headquarters of Kosovo has just basically been set on fire. The country suffers from massive unemployment. The unemployment rate is around 35%. Most of the young people don't have jobs.
Everything is so dry here, and it's been drying out for, 2 years.
These were not normal fires. These were not natural fires. These were, Australia gets its fair share of bad wildfires. But these were made a lot worse by global heating.
Today, millions of people took to the streets in over 150 countries around the world to protest the climate change situation in what might be the largest environmental protest in history.
In Sydney, they came in their thousands. A sea of people with one goal: to save the planet.
Hundreds of women have been demonstrating in the Indian capital in memory of the victim of a brutal gang rape. One woman is raped every 14 hours according to official estimates, while women across India frequently complain of being victim to sexual intimidation.
I've come to tell you what I see. There are great darknesses, farther than time itself.
정치와 코로나는 사실 어려운 상황이긴 하지만 별개라는 생각이 있고 선거는 나라가 좀 정직하게 위선이 없는 바른 정치를 했으면 하는 그런 마음 때문에
così, noi italiani riusciamo sempre ad inventarci qualcosa di straordinario anche nei momenti più difficili.
And we too are not safe. Anti-Semitism. We are calling times up on poverty. Times up. We are calling times up on violence. Times up.
We have to keep fighting daily, every day.
For centuries, the stages of the world have been arenas for fostering understanding and for challenging human behavior. The need for a robust and fearless theater has never been greater, and artists are responding to the call in every corner of the globe. The Gilder Coigney International Theater Award, presented every 3 years by the League of Professional Theater Women, recognizes the outstanding achievement of a female theater practitioner working outside the United States. I'm Tamara Tooney, and I'm delighted to be hosting this singular event honoring the work of theater women around the world. Today's ceremony is the 4th for this triennial award, which has previously been given to outstanding artists from Rwanda, Colombia, and the Netherlands. The 2020 award goes to Hanane Hajj Ali from Lebanon, who will be joining us to talk about her inspiring work in a country and region that has experienced devastating tragedies for decades. Before we meet Hanane, we're going to hear more about the award program, its history and goals, and what criteria are considered in evaluating the nominees. Throughout the program, you will have a chance to view the work of the 26 other women who were considered for this prestigious prize, including the 3 finalists, and to celebrate an extraordinary theater woman from Italy, whom we honor for her lifetime achievements. Our first speaker is Dr. Frank Henschker, Executive Director and Director of Programs at the Martin E. Siegel Theater Center, an institute for theater based at the CUNY Graduate Center in New York. Since 2001, Dr. Henschker has transformed the Siegel Theater Center into a premier forum for public programming in international and U.S. theater and theater studies. He was instrumental in the formation of the Gilder Coigney Award in 2011 and continues to partner with LPTW on the ceremony and supporting events.
Thank you, Tamara, for this wonderful introduction. My name is Frank Henschker, and I'm the Executive Director of the Martin E. Siegel Theater Center here at the Graduate Center CUNY, the City University of New York. I feel honored to be included in this significant global ceremony, celebrating the groundbreaking work of women in theater. We at the Siegel Center believe that this is the Nobel Prize for women in theater, recognizing, fostering, and encouraging the work of women in and for the theater. It was a great privilege for me to help a little bit to create the inaugural event 10 years ago in 2011 with the wonderful Joyce Mayo and Melanie Sutherland. And we are thrilled again to be co-presenter for this significant ceremony. And we would like to thank HowlRound for giving us a platform again. Artists need to be recognized, fostered, and encouraged for their work. Women, and we know that, they have to work harder and always need to prove that they are better than men to be fully accepted. And often they work in the dark, they are invisible, or they're standing in the wings of the theater instead of the spotlight in center stage where they also belong. The contribution of women to the multiverse of theater is enormous, ingenious, invaluable, and of the highest artistic integrity and quality. We applaud the 2020 Gilder Coigney Award honoree, the extraordinary Arab theater artist Hanane Hajj Ali from Lebanon. Like a diamond, her work reflects the work of the brilliant shining women who were nominated in a year-long global search. We have the highest respect for the extraordinary work of the previous recipients of the Gilder Coigney Award. Odile Gakire Katese from Rwanda, Africa, 2011. Patricia Ariza, Colombia, Latin America, 2014. Adelheid Roosen, the Netherlands, Europe, 2017. In addition to Ali, the League will honor 26 female theater artists from 18 countries who are addressing local and global struggles through their theater practice, including political suppression, freedom of speech, violence against women and children, racial, gender, and identity discrimination, limited or no access at all to education, art, and healthcare. Nothing could be more important. Now, I would like to introduce the co-presidents of the League, Mary Hodges and Sharon Lubin, and thank you.
Thank you, Frank. We're so happy to be partnering with the Martin E. Siegel Center of CUNY again this year for the Gilder Coigney Award. Welcome all. I'm Sharon Lubin.
And I'm Mary Hodges. We're so glad you're here with us, celebrating our extraordinary honorees from all over the world. What resilience these artists have shown in time of global disease, catastrophe, violence, and political upheaval.
We also pay tribute through the whole week of programs to the groundbreaking and seminal work of Rosamond Gilder and Martha Coigney, both passionate founding members of the League and our international committee.
We've been working hard during this period of shutdown to keep moving the organization forward, continuing the long-term mission of the League, leading the gender parity conversation in professional theater for over 35 years. Our members are theater artists and practitioners of all backgrounds, working across multiple disciplines in both the commercial and nonprofit sectors.
The League continues to shine a spotlight on gender parity, part now of its commitment to creating a culture of EDIA, equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility, both in the theater world and the world at large. Please check out more on our fabulous new website.
Or better yet, join with us, Shellen. If you are a woman plus working in the American theater, we invite you to become a member of the League. If you are working in the theater anywhere else in the world, you can become an international associate.
If you're an ally, we invite you to become a friend of the League. And we also welcome sponsorships. We're pleased to now have Showtime as a Brava sponsor of the League. Thank you again for joining with us to honor Hanane Hajj Ali and all the brave and creative spirits being recognized and celebrated this week.
We hope to see more of you this year, maybe even in person. And now, we're pleased to present the chair of the Gilder Coigney International Award Program, Joan Firestone.
Thanks, Sheldon and Mary, and for everything you've done to advance this program. You were joined by many friends and supporters, and I look forward to acknowledging everyone later in the program. But I want most immediately to thank our fabulous executive team, Melody Brooks, Federica Lippi, Laura Caparati, Malini Singh McDonald, Katrine Hilbe, Melanie Sutherland, and Katrina Mikolovsky, without whom it would not have come to be. The League of Professional Theater Women formed an international committee in 2003 to promote opportunities for theater exchange and collaboration. We recruit and cultivate international affiliates and host them when they come to the United States. We encourage the formation of League chapters in affiliates' home countries and facilitate the dialogue and advocacy for women across borders. The Gilder Coigney International Theater Award was established in 2011 in honor of two legendary theater women whose successes as artists and diplomats in countries and territories across the globe prove that there are no boundaries. Rosamond Gilder was one of the founders of the International Theater Institute, and Martha Coigney was its president for 35 years. It inspired meaningful and productive relationships with our global theater colleagues. A devoted member of the League, Martha fostered our engagement and advised, and I quote, "It is only by being available to the international performing arts that we will find our full identity and strength as American artists." This is the fourth iteration of the tri-annual Gilder Coigney International Theater Award program. Each time the award has been presented, we have added new elements that recognize and acknowledge the growth and evolution it has seen, not only highlighting the particular achievements of the winner and the other nominees, but reflecting the current nature of our changing times. On August 4th, 2020, the city of Beirut was ripped to shreds, and the impact reverberated throughout the world. Home to our awardee, Hanane Hajj and our finalist, Maya Zabib, these artists brought that tragedy to our front door. It is prominent in our minds as we celebrate these two exceptional women and their 25 colleagues from 18 different countries. The journey to the award ceremony begins with the nomination process, and we reach out to consulates and cultural organizations from around the world for recommendations that follow a fixed criteria: artistic excellence, particularly in the expression of new forms of theatrical expression, recognition of nominees' work at home and abroad, a demonstrated commitment to the support of women through theatrical practice, a body of work that inspires and educates U.S. theater practitioners with new ideas, and with a hope that the Gilder Coigney Award will leverage recognition and opportunity for the winner and her colleagues. We received 27 nominations from 18 different countries. The review process is conducted by members of the International Committee most conversant with the international theater. We were amazed that there was total agreement among the 12 committee members to select Hanane Hajj Ali from Lebanon as awardee, and Iman Aoun from Palestine, Malika Sarabhai from India, and Maya Zabib from Lebanon as finalists, and to give special recognition to Mihaela Dragan from Romania. In her acceptance letter, Hajj Ali confirmed the role that artistic excellence plays in her career, one that also represents the value system of the award program. And I quote, "While I seem to forefront the social injustices and the political divisions that devastate our society, I always believe that I can only do so by staying faithful to the pursuit of artistic excellence." Theater provides a moral compass of human behavior and points in the direction of change. Artists of every persuasion and national identity are the leaders and magnets of change. The arts, it has been said, cannot change the world, but they may change human beings who might change the world. Whether in the streets, improvised, or sophisticated theater spaces, artists continue to create, and their voices resonate. Fighting against brutality and oppression does not bear a single national identity and is as essential in a democracy as in a totalitarian regime. Creative thinking and robust imagining are essential to the flourishing of a democratic society. And now I have the distinct pleasure of introducing you to 22 of our nominees in a montage of their work.
I've come to tell you what I see. There are great darknesses, farther than time itself. And beyond the darkness, a light that glows, changes. And in the center of the universe, the eye that sees us all.
What an amazing group of theater women. We will get to meet the Gilder Coigney finalists and award winner a little later, but this sample of work we have just seen represents hundreds of sister artists who are striving to make a difference through theatrical practice in small, intimate settings or on large national stages across the globe. It is now my pleasure to introduce a woman who knows a great deal about what is happening on those stages, both in the United States and around the world. Patricia Ariza has served as Executive Director of Theater Communications Group since 2007. Under her leadership, TCG has invested in building greater equity, diversity, and inclusion in the American theater field and expanded its work internationally to promote a vision for a better world for theater and a better world because of theater. TCG created the Global Theater Initiative in 2016, which strengthens, nurtures, and promotes global citizenship and international collaboration in the U.S. professional and educational theater fields. Patricia Ariza knows better than most that promoting cultural collaboration is essential for international peace and mutual understanding, and that the power of performance is an especially valuable tool in humanizing global politics and demystifying the other. Welcome, Patricia. We are delighted to have you join us.
I'm honored to be with you today to kick off the Rosamond Gilder and Martha Coigney Award and to celebrate this year's winner, Hanane Hajj Ali. This award, at this time in our global history, is truly consequential. It reminds us that theater matters now, and that women in theater are vital, and that our global interconnectedness is both essential and undeniable. As a result of the past year's experience with a global pandemic, we know now that whether or not there are live performances in theater buildings, on street corners, or under tents, at a time when in fact these acts are mostly impossible due to constraints on public gathering, theater and theater makers continue to flourish through their ideas, their ingenuity in reaching audiences by way of new platforms, and through their love of community. During this time, we've grappled with the impacts of authoritarian regimes, including in the U.S. We've seen wretched expressions of white supremacy, racism, and anti-immigration bias. And we know that the absence of theaters as places of healing in the midst of this is a dramatic loss and a kind of crisis in and of itself. Still, we're able to rely on theater makers to find beauty and to make sense of these troubled times. There is resilience in our theater community that keeps us going strong. And we share a continuity with those artists who thrived and triumphed through global conflicts and challenges in the past, raising up the value of our art form to lift hearts, fight injustice, and bring about healing. We celebrate some of these artists today through the Gilder Coigney Award. While I didn't know Rosamond Gilder personally, Martha Coigney was someone who impacted my early career when she became part of an advisory council I helped form for the Actors Theatre of St. Paul. I remember meeting Martha and being riveted by her humility, but also by her fierce ambition for a world that was made more peaceful through theater making and relationships among theater people. When I became executive director of Theater Communications Group in 2007, Martha had already left the U.S. Center of ITI, but had a firm hand in the merging of ITI US with TCG. Her legacy was profound. She often baked brownies and stopped by the office to share the latest on what was happening across the globe with our shared friends and colleagues from China to Nigeria, Hungary to Mexico to the Philippines and beyond. She believed in people-to-people diplomacy based on the principle of individual human rights and the vital importance of artistic freedom of expression. And she often quoted a Russian actor who, while sitting in the halls of the United Nations, said, "The politicians are not the diplomats. We are the diplomats. Artists are the diplomats." And I couldn't agree with them more. In these times where our ability to communicate through technology is enhanced, to see each other's work and to share our hopes and dreams, we can and must seize this era to fortify our global theater movement. At a recent International Theater Institute online congress in December, over 100 ITI centers and projects worldwide representing theater makers on all continents gave presentations. The range of work and the commitment of these centers and leaders was astonishing. While ITI continues to evolve as an organization, it is strong in large part because of the legacy and the foundation that were set by Rosamond Gilder and Martha Coigney. In their roles at ITI, they led movements to establish international theater festivals in Europe, the US, and globally. They believed in a national theater accessible to all citizens as a way toward world peace. They were joined and succeeded in promoting this legacy as well with women such as Ellen Stewart, Joan Chanick, and Amelia Cachapero. The seeds they've planted continue to bear fruit and contribute to a continuum of international theater making toward world peace. This year's Gilder Coigney Award winner, Hanane Hajj Ali, said, and I quote, "While I seek to forefront the social injustices and the political divisions that devastate our societies, I always believe that I can only do so by staying faithful to the pursuit of artistic excellence," unquote. This commitment to the dual purposes of theater as art form and as instrument of change are exactly what is needed, combined with a commitment to making theater accessible and available to as wide a population as possible for the purpose of constructing shared narratives, making sense of the world we inhabit, and building collaborative community through this work. We are the diplomats, and we can heal and repair this world and all of its injustices. I want to express my gratitude to the League of Professional Theater Women for staying the course all of these years to lift up the important work of women in our sector. Gravitating toward theater and its power in the world beyond individual advancement, enrichment, and aggrandizement is particularly characteristic of women leaders in this work. I'd like to leave you with this quote, again from Martha Coigney, about the power of the continuum of theater making. She said, "As a global gathering of theater people, ITI has promoted, protected, and defended theater artists. Their work, their opinions, and in some cases, their lives. We are catalysts. Our continuity is the memory of the future." Thank you and congratulations to Hanane and all of the nominees and finalists for the Gilder Coigney Award.
Thank you, Teresa. Your work at expanding Theater Communication Group's vision to the wider world is truly inspiring. Hanane Hajj Ali was selected as the winner from a group of finalists, all of whom exemplify the Gilder Coigney Award ethos and criteria. We take this moment to highlight the work of Iman Aoun from Palestine, creator of the international sensation The Gaza Monologues, Malika Sarabhai from India, a Nobel Peace Prize nominee for her multidisciplinary anti-violence and human rights projects, and Maya Zabib from Lebanon, a two-time finalist for the Gilder Coigney Award among multiple international honors. Mihaela Dragan from Romania is receiving a special certificate of achievement for her work in gender and sexual politics as they relate to the plight of Roma women. We are pleased to share a sampling of their theater projects.
شو كنتوا بتعملوا؟ كيف ممكن تساعدوا الشخصيات؟
Living one day in freedom.
Dream, it's small and it's mean. Too small for detection. It's your built-in protection. Adrenaline, kill. It will give you the will. Yes, you better face it, cause you can't displace it. You are P-O-L-E-N-T, cause you're either a victim or on top, like me. Art can go through where other things can't. You can't have barriers because it breaks through your prejudices, breaks through everything that you have as your mask, as I am this, I am that, I am that. No, it breaks through those and it reaches somewhere where other things don't. The two Chadias, the traitors, fell into the hands of these people and were stoned to death. What does this society do for me that the fear of losing that will make me forget that I have been raped?
في لجوء وفي عبوء وفي انتحار بالسوق، في جريمة إخبارية بتحرف كل الخبرية، في مغارة وفي سفارة وسياسة ناطر إشارة.
حيوان ساكن
شين عاطية
Disclaimer. Orice asemănare cu realitatea este voită. Orice realitate este discutabilă. Orice discuție este polemică. Orice polemică este subiectivă. Orice subiect este personal. Orice corp este personal. Orice corp este o persoană. Orice persoană are dreptul de a ști, de a investiga, de a explora, de a decide ce face cu corpul.
Oască cu picior sucit, Antonescu ce are în gând? Iepure urât și șchiop, șatra mai are noroc?
Gondoline.
Apropo, cercetătorii au dovedit că oamenii care experimentează durerea timp îndelungat, așa cum ar fi sclavia sau Holocaustul, o transmit mai departe prin ADN-ul lor.
How should I not be glad to contemplate the clouds clearing beyond the dormer window and a high tide reflected on the ceiling? There will be dying, but there is no need to go into that. The poems flow from the hand unbidden, and the hidden source is the watchful heart. The sun rises in spite of everything, and the far cities are beautiful and bright. I lie here in a riot of sunlight, watching the day break and the clouds flying. Everything is going to be all right.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Laura Caporati, Chair of the LPTW International Committee, who will present the first ever Gilder Coigney Lifetime Achievement Award.
Actress, author, director, producer, Franca Valeri was a pioneer for women who wanted to write their own material and wanted to be successful in a world dominated by men. Alma Franca Maria Norsa was born on July 31, 1920, in Milan, in an upper-middle-class family, part Jewish and part Catholic. As a young girl, Franca used to entertain family and friends with satirical portraits of her mother bourgeois friends. Two of her most successful portraits, her women as we know them, were born in these family gatherings. La Signorina Snob, a middle-class girl who likes to show off her wealth, and Cesira, la Manicure, the manicurist. When she started her career, she took the name Valérie after the French poet Paul Valéry, as her father didn't want her to use the family name. Her first success, though, came from participating with her women in a national radio program that was the cradle for many famous Italian actors. Then she met Vittorio Caprioli, her future husband, and Alberto Bonucci, and they formed the Teatro dei Gobbi in 1949. Their show, Carnet des Notes, which they even took to Paris, was a satire of contemporary society, performed on an empty stage with no props or costumes, something very new at the time. From there, she kept portraying different women, mothers, wives, actresses, CEOs, from the upper and the lower class, always giving them dignity and light. With these characters and a phone, her only prop, she became one of the most recognizable faces on TV. The Roman Sara Ceccioni became her best-known creation and is still beloved by everyone today. She worked with Federico Fellini, Mario Monicelli, Vittorio De Sica, Dino Risi, Alberto Sordi, Totò, just to name a few. In 1962, when LGBTQ persons were still very much closeted in Italy, she wrote a movie, Parigi Cara, where its protagonists are a former prostitute and her gay brother. She was the champion for all the female comedians and authors that came after her. She loved them all, and one could find her at the theater supporting the younger generations. Franca Valeri was delighted to know that she had received the Gilder Coigney Lifetime Achievement Award in the spring of 2020. On July 31st, 2020, she turned 100. And she died peacefully a few days later, leaving us with her books, her plays, and with her women.
In order to find the extraordinary women who are nominated for the Gilder Coigney Award, we rely on a network of theater practitioners and cultural institutions that span the globe. Roberta Levito, who has her finger on the pulse of theater activism in many lands, introduced the award committee to our winner, Hanane Hajj Ali. Roberta is the co-founder and director of Theater Without Borders, an all-volunteer virtual network of individuals and organizations around the world who are interested in global exchange through the arts. She was also an advisor to the Sundance Institute Middle East North Africa Initiative and is here to share with us her personal knowledge of the impact Hanane's work has had in Lebanon and throughout the Middle East.
Good afternoon. It is my honor to introduce you to Hanane Hajj Ali, one of the mothers of contemporary Arab world theater. Fluent in English, French, and of course Arabic, Hanane defies conventions, expectations, and stereotypes. She embodies the breadth of today's evolving realities for Arab women in Arab world theater. Throughout her 40-year career, she has not only written, performed, and directed acclaimed Arabic language productions, she has also facilitated and supported hundreds of her colleagues, students, and communities in Lebanon and throughout the entire Middle East, North Africa region. I first met Hanane in New York City in 2014 at the NYU Abu Dhabi Institute's conference in the same room, Middle East Women in Theater. I met her again in 2015 at her Shams Sunflower Theater in Beirut, and again in Morocco when Hanane was a member of the acting company for the Sundance non-U.S. Theater Lab in 2018. Throughout the last year, we have all discovered surprising reserves of strength and endurance. In this arena, Hanane Hajj Ali is an inspiration and guide. She has pursued her art and social activism through Lebanon's 15-year civil war, the country's October 2019 political uprising, and the devastating Beirut port explosion of August 2020. As Hanane recounts, she spent long days and nights of the civil war in shelters, using improvisational theater to transform confinement into a celebratory solidarity and resilience. There, she says, I experienced the power of arts, especially theater, to transform reality into possibility. She switched from studying biology and genetics to studying acting, and her beautiful adventure began. She joined the acclaimed Al-Hakawati Storytellers Theater Group in 1977, and in 1999 she co-founded the Shams Sunflower Theater with her husband, actor and director Roger Assaf, as a safe meeting place literally on the street that divided warring factions during the years of civil war. An award-winning actress in films and plays, she forefronts her social activism, while she says, I always believe I can only do so by staying faithful to the pursuit of artistic excellence. A brilliant actress, Hanane wrote and performs her one-woman show Jogging worldwide. The partly autobiographical play, an adaptation of the ancient Greek tale of Medea, is set in contemporary Lebanon, and it explores what it means to be a woman, a mother, and a citizen. Yet to have its professional debut in the U.S., Jogging performed at the Avignon Festival in Singapore and won the Vertebra Prize for Best Actor at the Edinburgh Festival. For Hanane, Jogging celebrates artistic freedom of expression in Lebanon and tackles the Bermuda Triangle of religion, sex, and politics. Hanane is a teacher, with master classes and workshops throughout the U.S. and Europe, including at the Shubak, or Window Festival in London. Sessions on theater practice, leadership, cultural management, and cultural policy aim to raise awareness, exchange expertise, and support initiatives by emerging artists and cultural leaders, an increasing number of whom are refugees who struggle to work as professional artists amidst turbulence and crisis within their home countries or in the host countries, where they now must reconstruct their lives. In fall 2020, Hanane participated, along with more than 100 colleagues, to form Theater Relief Group in Lebanon, which has successfully built a chain of solidarity between Lebanon and allies abroad to help fellow theater makers struggling to survive. Dedicated to cultural memory and its transmission through the generations, Hanane's book Theater Beirut is an anthology of plays by emerging playwrights in Lebanon, and her latest project is to document Al-Hakawati Storytellers productions, to be published in 2021. For many years, Hanane has been in the leadership of a battle to defend citizenship, justice, dignity, and freedom of expression for all. Her fervent work on behalf of women, youth, the disenfranchised, and her beloved city of Beirut continues to this day. For Hanane, art is as essential and vital as bread.
كل عمري أحلم بمسرح 360 درجة، مسرح بوسع المدينة كلها.
أنا اسمي حنان علي الحاج علي، عندي 4 أولاد، ولا واحد منهم بالبلد مثلهم مثل كل رفقاتهم.
شغلتين بيساعدوني ابقى على ايدي الحياة بقلب هالوضع الكوارثي اللي عم نعيشه بلبنان: المسرح والجوجينج. اكتشفت بقلب الملاجئ خلال الحرب كيف ممكن المسرح يغير هالأجواء السوداء، كيف ممكن يبدد القلق ويزرع الأمل. من هون قررت كون ممثلة واشتغل بالمسرح. أول تجربة إلي كانت مع فرقة مسرح الحكواتي بإدارة المخرج روجيه عساف. هالتجربة انطلقت من السياسة للمسرح، كانت ممارسة جذرية تطمح أنه تشارك بالثورة من خلال الفعل المسرحي. أنا بتعاطى مع المسرح كل مرة من زاوية مختلفة. كممثلة بحط حالي كلياً بخدمة المشروع المسرحي الخاص بمخرج معين. بحب كتير اشتغل مع الشباب، بعتبر انه هي الطريقة الوحيدة اللي بتساعدني جدد حالي كل مرة. على كل حال تعلمت كتير من ولادي،
وأنا ومتاخدة بهالروحانيات وغلط صبر ميتافيزيك.
بس بالنسبة للمشاريع الخاصة فيي مثل مسرحية الجوجينج، ما بخلق هيك مشاريع إلا وقت اللي بحس إنه في شيء قوي عم يكلني من جوا. بتخيل حالي ماشي على حبل بالهوا. بحب المفارقات، بحب إني أخلط الأشياء ببعض البعض، وبمجرد ما أشعر إني رح أوقع بخطر استدرار المشاعر بكسر.
الحمام يسبح ربه وهو عم بشخ.
بستخدم الفكاهة، السخرية، بخلط الحقيقة بالخيال، بجمع القصص، بدمجها ببعضها، بخيط عدة عناصر بحبكة واحدة، بستعمل شخصيات عديدة لأخلق منها شخصية فريدة مثيرة للاهتمام وللجدل. كل عمري كان همي أوصل للناس وروح لعندهم بالضيعة البعيدة، بالأماكن المهمشة، بالمخيمات، وين ما كانوا. بالنسبة إلي المسرح لازم يسترجع دوره الأساسي، إنه يكون أجورا، هالمساحة العامة مطرح ما المواطنين بيقدروا يجتمعوا ليتناقشوا سوا بالأسئلة الشائكة. كل عمري بشارك بالحملات والتظاهرات اللي بتناصر قضايا الحق والعدل والحرية، ومؤخراً بفضل الثورة صارت بيروت هالمسرح اللي بحلم فيه.
جمهورية لبنانية تنعي من بداها.
بس ما بحس حالي بأمان، وبتوقع بأي لحظة يوقفوني ويحطوني بالحبس. بس مش رح وقف، مستعدة لهاللحظة.
لحوسني، شمشمني، نتوشني.
مسرحية الجوجينج معمولة لتكون راهنة متفاعلة مع الآن وهنا، مثل ما لازم تكون الهوية. أصلاً الهوية الجامدة هي بالضرورة هوية ميتة، بينما الهوية اللي بتكمل تتفاعل مع المعيوش وبتتطور هي هوية حية. هيك بشوف الجوجينج، هيك بشوف المسرح، وهيك بشوف الحياة.
Hanane, it is a privilege and honor to salute you today. You are a champion of social justice, employing your exceptional artistic talents as writer, performer, director, educator, and facilitator with unflinching resolve. Your impact on change over your 40-year career resonates throughout the Arab world and beyond, always staying faithful to the pursuit of artistic excellence. We are in awe of your many accomplishments and fervently pray that they may continue despite the even greater cultural, political, and economic challenges that confront you. On behalf of the League of Professional Theatre Women, our global associates, and the global community at large, please accept this small token of our love, admiration, and continuing friendship and gratitude.
Thank you, John. Thank you. My journey with this award is a series of pleasant surprises. It started with being nominated by Roberta Levito, a member of the League of Professional Theatre Women. This nomination then led me to discover the list of the nominees for this round, as well as the winners of the 3 previous editions, who are a wonderful group of professional female theater practitioners from different regions of the world. The third surprise was that the shortlist included 2 nominees from the Arab world whom I admire for their brilliant work, Iman Aoun from Palestine and Maya Zbib from Lebanon. The fourth surprise was that I won. So thank you to the League of Professional Theatre Women for this great honor. A number of interlinked events have led me to this moment. It started in 2017 with my participation in Zukak Theatre Company's program Focus Liban that supports local Lebanese theatre productions by giving them international visibility. I was then invited by Arab Arts Focus, a platform for Arab theatre at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, to present my latest play, Jogging, that won awards at both events and gained considerable attention. Finally, representatives of the Sundance Theatre Lab saw my play at Edinburgh and asked me to take part in their MENA program the following year. Unfortunately, such opportunities did not last forever. The Sundance Theatre Lab was later halted for financial reasons. The Zukak platform was suspended due to the multiple political and economic crises that Lebanon has been enduring, and Edinburgh's Arab Arts Focus initiative has not been repeated since 2017, as it faced a lot of logistical problems, with more than half of the Arab artists and technicians invited by the Edinburgh Festival being denied travel visas. This all might seem unimportant in comparison to the near total paralysis that has afflicted the performing arts because of COVID-19, but I consider it an integral part of what we need to think about regarding the future. We must not close our eyes to the problems we have faced in our profession and continue to face because of repeatedly curtailed cultural rights, especially freedoms of expression and of travel. These 2 chronic problems have intensified in many countries due to the political decisions that only claim to curb terrorism and maintain security. One part of the world had turned into a giant prison way before the spread of COVID-19. Who could have imagined that it would be possible today to erect a separation wall in Palestine that is 712 kilometers in length and 8 meters in height, trapping inside thousands of Palestinians from the West Bank and Jerusalem, according to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. We celebrated the fall of the Berlin Wall with such vigor. So why are some people celebrating the building of other walls? Why do we accept such walls as given in the 21st century? Politicians who talk about peace or leaders who boast about democracy and human rights will not prevent such crimes against humanity. Nothing breaks the siege of shame except art that is creative, bold, and genuinely believes in the dignity of human beings and their right to a decent life. After receiving the prestigious 2020 Design of the Year award for their teeter-totter wall, architects Ronald Royal and Virginia Sanfratello said, quote, "We don't need to build walls. We need to build bridges. Walls don't stop people from entering our capital. Walls don't stop viruses from moving," unquote. Their installation consisted of 3 bright pink seesaws that were slotted into gaps in the steel boundary wall at the US border and bridged people across El Paso in Texas and Ciudad Juarez in Mexico. This 20-minute-long event that occurred on the 20th of July, 2019, was to me a wonderful, true live art performance. And as stated by Razia Iqbal, the chair of the judging committee, It provided more than a literal fulcrum between the countries. It was about the possibility of things. Art dismantles the impossible and releases the possible. Art does not change the world, but changes our perception of the world. Art, and in particular theater, is a journey to the land of questions. Is theater threatened? Yes. Performing arts? Certainly. But so is the factory worker, the artisan, the office worker, the driver, the engineer, the shoe polisher, and millions of the unemployed whose numbers were increasing before COVID-19, let alone now. My theater is about the marginalized, downtrodden and forgotten, the kidnapped and the forcibly disappeared during periods of war and peace. It's about collective memory and distorted history. Through my work, I try to talk about what is kept silent and reveal what is hidden, to break the taboos of sex, religion, and politics, knowing that we have to face the corruption, hypocrisy, and tyranny that is sweeping the world. Theater action is not just about putting on a performance. It can be a multifaceted activity that encompasses aid, as well as organizational and protest activities according to what is urgently needed. An activity shaped by the back and forth movement that takes place across the invisible boundary between the space in which the action takes place and between the practice of that activity and its realization. In this sense, making theater becomes part of building a city, just as shaping a city becomes part of its theater. I have long dreamt of a 360-degree theater, a seemingly utopian ideal that I believe can be realized. We often experience the failure of utopias, but we did, however, live their success for a while during the revolution in Egypt, Tunisia, Palestine, Syria, Sudan, and lately the October Revolution in Lebanon. Multiple sprawling agoras in which debates bubble, questions reproduce, and artistic interventions flourish in public spaces help theater embrace the entire city. Theater has been around for 2,500 years, and it has remained a platform for dialogue, resistance, critical thinking, and openness. Theater did not die, and it cannot disappear as an art form. It persists because it answers our human need to know one's humanity and satisfy the thirst for dialogue and the hunger for dignity. Theater cannot die because it seeps into the pores of besieged cities in new shapes and forms. Sometimes it remains latent only to explode again like water that can't be trapped by stone. It erupts like justice, like freedom. In the name of freedom and in the name of theater, I remember Virginia Woolf's celebration of the first female playwright in England in the 17th century. Quote, "All women together ought to let flowers fall upon the tomb of Afra Ben, for it was she who earned them the right to speak their minds." Unquote. Allow me then to, in my turn, spread flowers on the tombs of two pioneers of international and local theater who left a mark on my memory and career. The first is the inspirational Ellen Stewart, nicknamed La Mama, who needs no introduction, and whom I was fortunate to meet when she visited us at the historical Beirut Theater in the 90s after the Civil War has ended. The second is Rida Khouri, the pioneering actress who left a stamp on Lebanese theater. She helped change the image of actresses who were looked at as women of ill repute. Rida Khouri gained respect through her talent and the value of her work, as well as her belief in the power of theater. She gave us the courage to get on stage. And last but not least, allow me to throw a rose onto the lap of my fellow contemporary female theater makers who believe in the role of theater in understanding our humanity and in reviving the agora of just citizenship. Greetings to all my fellow theater makers in Lebanon who, starting with the pioneer René Dick, have all carried and are still carrying the responsibility for the development and the continuity of Lebanese theater today during one of the most dangerous historical stages that Lebanon has ever had to go through, at a time when the policies of gender, ethnic, and sexual discrimination continue to marginalize and oppress many, especially women. The list of their names, believe me, is very long. This award does justice to the creative women and acknowledges their craft. Thank you all for your inspiring courage and your contagious perseverance.
The support that the 2020 Gilder Coigney International Theatre Award Program has earned from artists and friends, both domestic and global, enables us to launch this program across the airwaves the week of February 15th through the 22nd. The passion we have invested allows us to be confident that we have represented the best of the 27 artists being recognized, and we have provided an opportunity for our audiences to better understand the process that makes them such effective agents of change. We want most particularly to thank friends who were constant supporters of the program's goals, starting with the League's board of directors, the voluntary task force who offered constant support, and the nominators who introduced us to the 27 artists we honor and celebrate, and our League colleagues who helped to showcase them, all of whom you will find listed in the closing credits. To loyal League members and their colleagues who devoted time and talent to deliver the 2020 program panel discussions, Taraj Yazarian, Melanie Sutherland, Catherine Corey, Katrine Hilby, Catherine Fiu, Gwyn McDonald, Courtney Coco Killingsworth, Kitty Hind, and Abigail Bess. To our partners, Martin E. Siegel Center at CUNY, Frank Henschke, Executive Director, Lebanese American University, Nadim Shahadi, Executive Director, Italian Cultural Institute, Paolo Ballera, Casa Italiana, Zerilli Marimo at NYU, New York University, John Bradamus Center, Michael F. Denisha, and Thomas M. McIntyre. To Tamara Tooney, Kathleen Chalfant, Roberta Levitow, Teresa Eiling, and Arturo Farrell, who so generously share their exceptional talents on behalf of urgent social issues. And to the two stars of the 2020 Gilder Coigney International Award Program, Melody Brooks and Federico Lippi, who have skillfully and lovingly managed our entree onto the virtual global stage. We are indebted to the following sponsors: the Fowler Foundation, Penny Brandt Jackson and Thomas Campbell Jackson, Agnes Gund, Luis and Anne-Marie Suerto on behalf of Thalia Cunningham, Mary Miko, Harriet Slaughter, Pat Addis, Carolyn Gordon Hyatt, and Laura Rittenhouse. And grateful thanks to a few loyal friends and guiding lights: Darryl Roth, Mia Bu, George Forbes, Richard W. Firestone, Jacqueline Z. Davis, Dean Carol Becker, Kim Bendheim, Gail Knowles, John Steele, and William Wadsworth.
Thank you for joining us in honoring these amazing theater women, and we hope you will be inspired to learn more about them. You can visit the League of Professional Theater Women's website for more information. The links are included in the closing credits. The next Gilder Coigney Awards ceremony will take place in October 2023, and we look forward to returning to a live presentation. Until then, these and other women around the world will continue their work as artists and activists in the struggles for peace and justice.